Welcome to the Christmas break vlog. In this video, you will see 3 different perspectives of poker in different cities. Myself, I go to Las Vegas for New Year's Eve. That's where my portion of this vlog will be. You're gonna see Rosie in San Diego, Jello in Chicago. Here we go.
We are back home in Chicago, ready to play some poker at The Rock for Wolfgang Poker's meetup game. Super pumped. It's gonna be a 1-2, 300 max. Let's get into it.
Pretty cool place to do my intro for the vlog. Thank you, Aunt Marissa. I played a session with the gang poker. If you like to see me bluff all in and play a garbage hand, 2 things I don't normally do, you're gonna like this one. Keep watching.
We are at Wolfgang Poker's meetup game in Chicago at Rockford Charitable Games. First hand for me, we got ace-6 of diamonds on the button with 300 in our stack, playing 1-2. Under the gun limps, under the gun 1 makes it 15. I call and under the gun calls as well. 3 ways to a board of 8-7-7 with 2 diamonds. We've got that nut flush draw, but it is a paired board. Surprisingly though, it checks over to me. Here I'm gonna take a stab at it, establish the betting lead, control the pot, all while in position. I bet $16. Under the gun folds and the initial aggressor calls, and the turn is the 8 of spades. Double pairing the board, he checks to me. I'm gonna check this one back, see a free river card, and we also have ace high, so we might be good here. I check, and the river is an interesting one. It's a 7 of hearts. Now there's a full house on the board. The initial aggressor checks to me again. Pot is $75 here. I could just check this one back because we're likely both playing the board. However, I'm gonna put him to the test here and try to get him off a chop. I overpot it here for $100. Under the gun 1 thinks about it, and before he tosses in chips, he says 2 words I didn't expect to hear. He jams it all in, $250. What?
He's all in.
How much more? As you can see here, I didn't expect this at all. He checked to me on all 3 streets and then check jam the river. What could he even be doing this with? I feel like all overpairs would have bet the river, trying to get value from me, and probably bet the flop as well. So this line just makes absolutely no sense. I don't really believe him here, to be honest. It's 150 more for me to call, and this player in particular, definitely capable of making a bluff here. He has a good understanding of the game, it's clear, and he knows that I'm likely playing the board as well. I go into the tank and eventually toss in that crying call, hoping to chop this. Unfortunately, I'd committed so much money already that I just had to call it off. And he shows me pocket 8s for a flopped boat and turned quads. Okay, now I have to play this one off like this was a cooler. I say nice hand and muck my cards.
I heard someone say once that you aren't bluffing enough if you have not bluffed into the nuts. Nice try, Jello. I'm going to take you guys to the best hand from each of my stops in Vegas. I went to a bunch of casinos. I bought it for 300 here at Bally's and ran up quite a stack. I wanted to highlight this hand with the ace-king offsuit. I've been very aggressive, but this time I'm under the gun. I only limp for $3 to set the trap. +1 calls and the hijack raises to 20. Cutoff, who was short stack, calls, big blind calls, and now it's time to limp squeeze. I raise it up to 120. +1 folds, and the hijack player, the initial aggressor, he jams it all in for 240. The cutoff calls for only $30 more, back to me, I snap call, and we head off to a run out 3 ways. Flop comes king, jack, 8, turn is a 2, river is the 10 of clubs. Here I am tabling my hand, and we're up against the hijack's ace-8 of hearts, which we beat and the other player mucks. The trap works perfectly, we get a light all in, and now the next hand of mine is gonna be 2-5 at Resorts World. On to Rosie.
Welcome to Los Angeles, California for my portion of the vlog, guys. We're playing 1-1 here with a 200 cap, but it's getting pretty deep. This hand, we have ace-queen offsuit in early position. We go for the sneaky limp here, and we see Gator in middle position, one of the members of the gang. Raise it to $7. The button calls, Gordy in the small blind calls, and it's back to me, and we are gonna go with the plan with the limp re-raise to $50. Only Gator makes the call. I kind of wanted it to get through, or at least go heads up, and that's what we got. We're going to a flop out of position though, and it comes king 9-4 with all 3 hearts. Our cards are black. We don't love it, but I still am going to fire out a c-bet here. I think that he doesn't have many king x here, as ace king and pocket kings he would have jammed pre-flop, and we block king queen. He hasn't looked at his cards yet, which is a tell that people do when they need to see if they have 1 heart, so I think he might just have black cards as well. I go for a c-bet to $40. He actually checks his cards right here, and does make the call. So I believe he's on a flush draw because of this action. So when the turn is the 6 of clubs, let's put him to the test. And I go all in as a bluff for $150, trying to get him off a draw or whatever he has that may very well be better than my hand. He does tank fold. We show the bluff, and he tells me he had ace queen with the queen of hearts. So we got him to fold the same hand that he was free rolling with. I got a little crazy here, but I'm happy it worked out.
Next hand, we got pocket nines in the cutoff, 300 in our stack. We rebought after completely punting away our stack with ace high on that full house board. Hijack opens at 21. He's a short stack. He's only got 125 total. I call in the cutoff, and the small blind calls as well, and the flop is a nice one, 9-4 deuce with 2 spades, top set on this board. It checks to the hijack, and he bets $29. I call in the cutoff, and the small blind calls as well. Now we're 3 ways to a return of the ace of diamonds. It checks to the hijack, and he ships it $75. Now I'm faced with the decision. Me and the small blind both have 250 left in our stack. My 2 options here are to flat the $75 and potentially allow the small blind to come along as well, or just raise here and try to charge any spade draws that the small blind might have. Ultimately, I decide on just a call, but looking back, I wish I had just raised here and charged any draws. He might make the call, so I think a raise is best, but in the moment I just call, and the small blind calls 75 as well, getting a pretty good price. And the river is the 3 of spades. We now lose to any 5 and any 2 spades. Pretty unfortunate river card, and even worse, the small blind leads out for $50. I'm getting a ridiculous price here. I don't know. I go into the tank and really want to fold, but ultimately decide on a call. I don't know if I can fold this for this price, and the small blind flips over proudly. 6-5 of diamonds for the gutter ball that he just absolutely binked on the river. He had nothing but a gutter. Glad we were able to get him to put 75 more chips in the pot, but he sucked out on us and probably got the maximum. Nice hand.
I'm here to avenge you, Jello. We take our $650 of profit from Bally's and take it straight on over to Resorts World's 2-5 game. It's a pretty deep game. I buy in for $1,000. This hand happens in the first 1 hour. I'm in the cutoff with pocket 6s. There's a $10 button straddle on. The hijack calls 10. I raise it up to $40 to isolate. The button calls and the hijack player makes the call. We're going 3 ways to a flop, which comes 4 king 8. With 125 in the middle, I decide to c-bet for 50. Although I think I can just check here on this board. The button player makes the call and the hijack folds. I like a check because it's hard to improve with a pocket pair, so it's unlikely that I'm going to get better on a turn card if I get called. The turn card is the 6 of diamonds. We hit a 2-outer, 225 in the middle. I put out a bet of $125 for value now, and the button, who we're hoping to get a call from, puts in an even better action. He decides to raise, this time to $325. Like I said, I bought him for $1,000. I think I have the best hand. I don't want to see a diamond, so I just push it all in. $1,000 all in, and now our Euro friend goes into the tank for a long time, probably 2 minutes. But Mr. Gucci Bag is not going to be folding his Queen 7 of diamond combo draw. He calls, and the river is the 5 of diamonds. He gets there, and we lose $1,000. We end up punting a little bit off later after rebuying, so I lost $1,700 this session. It's all right. We're gonna go to New Orleans off the strip tomorrow for more 2-5. Until then, let's go back to see how Rosie's doing.
Just a quick reminder, our Next Gen Poker card protectors are on sale at nextgenpokershop.com right now, $15. Go get yours. They're aesthetic, they got a good weight to them, and they bring some run good.
This hand, 5-9 of diamonds here in the big blind. Yes, that is a hand that I, Rosie, am going to be playing a pot with. Because there's an under the gun straddle to 3, a bunch of limps, I complete for $2 extra. Remember, we're playing 1-1, and Gator checks his option in the straddle. We're going to the flop a lot of ways, out of position with a garbage hand. But if it comes 9-9-6, it's chill, right? 2 clubs on the board, but we got our trips. I lead out for $10, and we see calls from Gator and Shore behind me. Shore is Gator's dad. So we are going to a turn 3 ways, which is the 3 of clubs. The front door flush gets there immediately. I'm a little worried about the potential to be losing to trips with a higher kicker because the 5 really sucks. So I do check here. Gator leads out for $16. Shore folds, and it's back to me. And I really don't like this spot. I know we have trips, but the most immediate draw is already there. We lose to a ton of trips combos. I foresee the river not being too fun unless it's a 5, whether it be another club or a high card. I'm not going to like it in that regard. So I actually make the laydown here to save myself a tough river decision. And Gator shows me that I am bad. It's the 5-6 with one of them being a club. So Gator got me off of the better hand here. We did run the river, which was the jack of clubs, so I would have lost had I called, but we don't want to be results oriented. We made the wrong fold here.
We pick up ace king in the cutoff. We've got $300 in our stack. Low jack opens at 12. Hijack 3 bets to $37. Kind of a weird sizing here. I'm going to put in that cold 4. I raise it up to $105. Folds around back to the initial aggressor who ships it all in there, $202. The hijack makes a fold and it's back onto me. I'm never folding for $100 more. We're off to a run out.
Well, I guess I better have a good thumbnail then. There's the sweat. Oh. Yikes. Can't beat that. Oh.
We scoop in this pot. Finally, things are starting to go my way. Hopefully we can run up a stack and get back in the black today.
I hope you guys enjoyed this action shot of me as I go over my next hand at a 2-5 table at New Orleans. I bought in for $750, my stack's at $650 right now, and I've got ace king in the big blind. The under the gun player raises it up to $25, and this sizing was actually larger than normal. She normally made it $15, so I was a little suspicious. The small blind calls at $25, and I decided to play above my range and just call in the big blind. Won't be doing this very often. Flop comes ace of spades, 8 of hearts, 9 of hearts. Small blind checks, I check, and the under the gun player bets 40. The small blind player calls 40, and I slow played pre-flop. I'm gonna fast play on post-flop. I raise it up to $120. I think I could be going bigger here, probably near $175. That seems like the better bet. However, the under the gun player does not think 120 is enough. She raises all in for 500 effective. The small blind, the aggressive player folds. Now it's back to me. I've got top pair, top kicker. We lose to pocket 8s, pocket 9s, but she could be doing this with ace queen or doing this with the same hand, ace king. She also could have ace 9 or ace 8, which would have us in pretty bad shape. Although I don't love it, I do decide to make the call. Hope she has a heart draw or something of the sorts. The turn is the 9 of clubs, the river is the queen of clubs, and she announces quads. Yeah, we can't beat that. She has pocket 9s, and we lose a pretty big one. Oh well, next session, off to the Bellagio. Enjoy Jack until then.
I would not think that the initial 5 big blind raise is exceptionally strong in a live 2-5 game at the Orleans. I think you're gonna find that most people in live poker usually use gigantic pre-flop raise sizes, especially if you're used to playing online games where people usually raise to the minimum or maybe to 3 big blinds. That said, facing the 5 big blind raise and the call, I would have re-raised pre-flop to something like $130, maybe even a little bit bigger, like $150. The player with pocket 9 still would have called, you still would have flopped top pair, top kicker against the set, and you would have gone broke, but I think that would usually play out a little bit better.
Final hand, a note from me, and this one is a fun one. We've got ace 8 of spades in the small blind. $500 in our stack. Under the gun opens a 10, and he gets a call from under the gun 2, cutoff. I call in the small blind for $9 more, and we're off to a flop 4 ways, and it's 7-4 deuce with 2 spades. We've got the nut flush draw and some backdoor straight draws. Under the gun continues the story for $25 when check 2. Under the gun plus 2 calls, and it folds around to me. Here, I'm faced with a decision again. I can play this passively. This board is dry enough that I think under the gun can continue on this board with a lot of overcards. In that case, I'm going to put him to the test here with my strong draw. I check raise to $110. As expected, under the gun quickly folds, and under the gun 2 goes into the tank. Listen in to what he says.
I really don't think you flopped the set on me, man. I don't believe it. I got the blockers. I want to play all night. I don't want to just go down in flames here.
He literally tells me he doesn't want to go home. He thinks that I have a set and that I want him to call. And eventually he does decide on a call. And when the turn is the 5 of diamonds, one of the best cards in the deck, to make my draw even stronger, we pick up a double gut shot to go along with our nut flush draw. I'm not going to hesitate to put him to the ultimate test here. I ship it all in, and he's got 250 behind. He goes into the tank. And eventually, he decides to make the call. Oh boy, we're gonna need to bink a river. I ask him to run it twice. He says no. All right, let's see what happens. and the river comes the 5 of spades. We drill the nut flush, the board paired, but I'm not too scared of it. I show him, and he tells me I rivered him. We got him good this time, and we scooping in a pot our way.
Okay guys, we are back at the 2-5 streets at Bellagio this time. The buy-in is very comfortable, it's only $500. I've got pocket kings on the button. The action in this one is nuts. Under the gun calls 5, +1 raises to 30. Cut off raises to 90. I'm on the button, I re-raise to $200. Under the gun folds, under the gun +1 folds, and the cutoff goes all in for $675. I put in the call, I flip out my phone when the board comes king 10 6. We flop the nuts. The turn is the ace, and our life just gets way worse when she shows pocket aces. River's a queen. We lose a $1,400 pot, and yep, we get stacked versus aces. Got one more hand for you guys for redemption. Hour 12 of a 13-hour bender of a session. Battle back from down 500. I am now up 300. $1,300 in my stack. Look at my breakfast I have next to me. Steak and eggs and a parfait. I am ballin'. We got 4 next gen poker fans. Shout out to all of you at the table. I hope you're watching this right now. I got queens on the button, and our villain in this hand has $540 in his stack. He opens under the gun to $20. Saw him raise 7-4 of diamonds earlier, so a little loose. Folds to me, and I bump it up to $80. And the under the gun player, he makes the call. The flop comes king of clubs, 7 of diamonds, 8 of hearts. With 160 in the middle, he checks to me. There's a lot of things I could do here. I could just check and try to play this hand as a 2-street value hand, but in this case, I actually decide to bet my entire range here, trying to get value from draws and worse pairs. I put out a bet of $60, and I don't mind that bet until the under the gun player check raises all in for $459 total. It's a marginal spot at best. I mean, his raise just doesn't really make sense though in the moment. So yeah, he could have ace king. Yeah, he could have pocket 7s, pocket 8s that he could do this all with. However, I think he might play those sets differently as well. He might just flat call. He wouldn't want to raise and get me off the hand. And if he doesn't have those hands, what does he have? King queen, king jack, king 10. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Again, he was a fan of the channel, so I thought maybe he would do it a little wider than normal. For all of those reasons, I know this sounds crazy, I put in a call here. So we call, and he says you're good right away. I'm ecstatic. The turn though, because the pot's still 1060, we still have to run the turn in the river. I wish he would just mucked. Turns to 3 hearts, and the river is a 6 of spades. We're not good anymore. Under the gun has 9, 10 of spades. Yeah, I hate hearing that you're good and then just not being good by the river. It's just so annoying. And this was the last hand of the night, unfortunately. So we ended up losing $50 in this session after this hand. The Vegas poker itself did not go very well at all. However, I had a blast. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.
Jack is cashing out. How'd you do tonight, Jack?
I was in for 800, had a few tough hands at the start, but cashed out for 715, so a little bit of a loss, but that's all right.
But the moments that we shared together were priceless.
Oh, exactly.
In total, I played about 35 hours and I lost about $2,000. Oh well.
I was into the game for $300, out for $285, a $15 loss, but a fun time.
Peace.